Hey there, everyone. It's Tomedy, or Tom, in other words. You see, haven't been active for a while, for the last week or two, because apparently a really hard moment had just recently happened, in like a moment of sorrow. For the last week, I've been grieving and whatnot. It's just hard to put into words at the moment because very emotional. My grandfather. I just got the news from earlier this week that my grandfather Byron Davis had passed away. It was also sudden. I mean, it was too much for me. I mean, knowing someone I love, someone I was close to, just goes away. I was having a difficult week. I was actually having a difficult week to begin with. My week didn't go to a great start, and neither did the previous week. I won't go into details, but it was just hard for me, being a new homeowner and my social life, single life as well. I mean, single life may be easy, but it's just not a pleasant thought. So, my granddad, it was a really hard, it was a hard time for us all. I mean, he was 86 years old, which is a long life for most. Just, he had a great life. He lost his dad. Sorry, it was not easy for him to grow up young when he had to grow up without his dad when he lost his life during World War Two. Sorry, during the years of the Second World War. But he met my grandmother, and his life was happy. And with her, he was able to have two sons, one being my dad, and the other being my uncle. And the rest of the family I'm not going to mention because this is just emotional. And me, my sisters, and my cousins, we came into this world, and I have to say, he was like, in my opinion, he was like the happiest man on the planet. He was like the happiest man on the planet. I mean, he left us with no regrets. He didn't leave anything behind. He was it because of him. We were able to carry on his legacy and exist for us all. I mean, like I said, in my opinion, he was the greatest man I ever knew. You see, for the last 2 to 3 years, right, my granddad had been fighting throat cancer for the last 2 to 3 years. It shocked us all, knowing that, it seemed like it was sooner, because he was around for so many years. It was like it's like he was gonna be with us forever, but we know it's not true, people can only live for so long. I mean, he was doing alright, despite the fact of his cancer, which made, it wasn't destroying him completely. It just made a few life choices he had to, and sacrifices he had to do. I mean, lockdown was hard for him as well. I mean, he survived lockdown, yeah, that's the good thing, like most of us have. I mean, it was hard for him as well, he was home alone and everything. I mean, my grandmother died just about 2 years ago, 2 months, sorry, in October. leaving him a widow for 20 years. And that was first, that was just him having to live the rest of his life alone. But he wasn't alone, he had family, he had people who loved him. Just looking back, the great memories we had together, taking me to the zoo, and we all went to the Isle of Wight, which was one of the best memory of our family. I mean, every summer we would go down, rent a caravan, and see Grandma and Granddad's seaside on the Isle of Wight, and see our cousins. Although, as the years went by, in my father's side of the family, let's just say layers of distance started building up over the year. But it's still, through love, it kept us all together. And social media, of course. Of course, let's go. The last time I saw my grandfather, it was back in August. Me and my dad. Oh no! Sorry, no. Sorry, just one time. Me and my dad travelled down south to see him and my other granddad, who lives further up north. Anyway, I was trying to think. What was I doing? Oh yes, I was going on a little adventure at the time. I was travelling from Portsmouth and Brighton. I was visiting both Portsmouth and Brighton, which is also in a previous vlog, which I'll try and share the link at the end of the video so you'll be able to see it. So the video that I'm going to show you at the end of the video. Sorry. The link of the video I'm going to show you will be the video of the day I last saw him. I went to his house, and we went for a long walk to his favourite pub, which was just about half a mile down the road. I mean, some of the people know him well, and he was doing so well for someone with cancer. He looked like he was going to be around a few years more. And the last gift he gave me some money towards this house, to help me, buy this house. It was all thanks to him and my other granddad and other members of my family that I was able to make a new start of, owning a home, settle life. My granddad was one of the very many people to thank for it. On his final day, it was a Monday afternoon, I think, or evening. My granddad was just visiting a few friends at a club, as part of his group. And my granddad, he was for the while he was dating a nice woman called Pam. Yeah. It was nice to see him happy again, finding love again and all. Anyway, on the day he left the club, he started making his way home, and the thing was, he didn't get that far to his house. He made it to the nearest shop, which was near it. So he was at the nearest shop. He noticed something was wrong with him, so he asked for assistance. He was asking for assistance, and he collapsed. They were unable to get almost every local person nearby was trying to help, but he was unresponsive. He was taken to hospital, but he was pronounced dead on arrival. My family were only told the following night the sad news. And when I heard, I lost it, a part of me died. I felt shocked. I mean, we all knew he was gonna die. He was gonna die sooner, but I never thought that soon. We hoped. I was hoping to see him at least one more time. I was hoping to see him just one last time, like before. He never lived to see Christmas. My parents were going to go down south to give him a Christmas dinner, to give him company, as they do every single year. But this year it's different. I didn't want that £2,000. So that money he gave me is the last thing he gave me. The only sad thing is, I was planning to go see him in January and tell him about how I'm doing in my home life here. How I'm doing in my own home. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. I mean, things are just too hard. I mean, my dad, obviously, my dad's didn't take this too well either. I was surprised. My whole family were hurt. But, at least we all had something to share. Sorrows for once we lose. But my mum once told me she was once told by a special friend of hers. It was an elderly man called Tom Towser. He was a friend of my mum's. She met her through my mum's ex-husband. Before she met my dad, of course. He was a great guy, Tom Towser. He once taught my mum the fact about life where, living forever. I mean, living for 100 years, it's just the point of life, the fact of life. We are born, we live, we choose what we want to do. I mean, we can't choose where we're born, we can't choose where we start, but we can choose where we go. And how long we get to live, that's based on us, through our life choices, our lifestyle choices, whether to stay healthy or just to give up on life or to go crazy, or social, be social or keep unsocial. Many things we could choose. And then everyone has a time when they have to die. I mean, many people would die old or live a long life, like a long 80 to 70 to 90, and rarely 100 years of life to enjoy. Because that kind of lifestyle they could just share with others, they can tell people about it and people can remember, something for people to remember them by. But yeah, the sad fact is, many would die young. Some die young and never get to be old, never forever young, never old. Just it's the saddest times ever. Yeah, Tom Towser taught my mum all that, and after hearing about it, it just makes me think otherwise. I mean, the first time I learned about death actually was my own grandmother, who died of a complex of cancers, bowel and such. And her time was short. It was 20 years ago, and I was only 7. I have very little memory of her. And, battery's low. That was when I first learnt about, that was when I first learnt about death. It was a hard time indeed. Facts of life, isn't it? And what Tom Towers said to my mum was great. And fun fact is, my mum actually named me after him because she really liked his company and everything. But anyway, my granddad, Byron Davis, happiest man on the planet. This is a goodbye. He will be remembered through our hearts. The long life he lived. Just know that part of that life was with my dad, my uncle, my cousins, me and my sisters, his wife, my grandmother, and his family. Many of those years of his life were shared with us, and that's something to remember him by. Grandad, we'll miss you. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.